Rolex, the most iconic name in the watchmaking industry. But who owns them, and what has led them to being the global titan that they are today? Although being a Swiss brand, Rolex was in fact established in London by Hans Wilsdorf and his brother-in-law Alfred Davis in 1905. Initially, the first pieces produced had W&D hallmarked inside the casebacks, and the dials had the name of whichever jewelers they were being sold from. However, 3 years later, the Rolex name was trademarked and became the name of the watches produced by Wilsdorf and Davis. One may expect there to be a deep and meaningful reason for this name. However, the reason for it being chosen was that it was short enough to fit on the dial and that it sounds good in any language. In 1919, 14 years later after its initial formation, Wilsdorf moved the company from London to Geneva, where its headquarters have remained since. The business itself also had a change of name to Rolex Watches, which lasted for just 1 year before the watches part was dropped for simplicity. After the death of his wife, Hans Wilsdorf formed a private trust called the Hans Wilsdorf Foundation, to which upon his death in 1960, he left all of his shares in Rolex too. The foundation has retained this ownership ever since, and they operate under much secrecy. As they are a registered charity, this means under Swiss law they do not need to pay any taxes on their profits, as well as not having to declare to the general public what charitable donations they make. The foundation itself has a board consisting of 8 different members, which has been led by their chairman, Costin van Berchem, since 2013. The foundation has 13 employees in total, who are responsible for the administrative and general running of the charity. Despite only producing 6% of Swiss watches, Rolex makes up to 25% of the global Swiss watch market in terms of value. This makes them the largest player in the market by quite some margin, as the second largest brand, Omega, have just a third as much at 8.8%. Although Rolex produces a mere 1 million watches a year, when compared to the likes of Fossil, who produce over 10 times this amount, it is the high price tag of Rolex's watches that makes their production numbers so impressive. With the average timepiece costing around the $10,000 mark, it is no surprise that Rolex is able to command such a hold over the market for watches globally. The growth of Rolex isn't showing any signs of slowing down anytime either. After being at the forefront of the COVID pandemic watch boom, which resulted in demand for their timepieces far exceeding supply, they are now in the process of attempting to correct this market failure. Although not 100% set, it is all but confirmed that Rolex are investing around $1 billion in a new production facility in Switzerland. With expected completion in 2029, it is reportedly going to create around 2,000 jobs, as well as a 30% increase in units produced. This news will come as a relief to many, as even usually obtainable pieces are hard to come by at the moment. The only options for acquiring them being to pay extortionate gray market prices or joining waiting lists, which can be several years in length. So just why are Rolex watches so popular, and how has the brand remained so dominant? Although some may say they have lacked innovation in recent years, the quality and craftsmanship of their watches cannot be disputed. The name Rolex is synonymous with quality Swiss watchmaking, and it is why they are often the first choice for many people's first dear watch. They are items that can be passed down from generation to generation, and their allure never falters. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and let us know down in the comments what videos you'd like for us to make next.